We are live. I am going to let our Telegram group know. That's what I'm going to do. Let's see. Just letting our Telegram group know. Live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. There we go. Then as you guys come in, we'll just put some comments in the group chat there. What's going on, Sibi? Yeah, I'm just letting our Telegram group know that. There we go. Mr. Amateur. Liked. Thanks, Mr. Amateur. Appreciate it. What's going on, Daniel? What's going on, Nikia? What's going on, Raja? What are you guys up to? Dr. Nike? Who the fuck is Nike, Raja? It's Mike. What are you guys up to? Fariha, what are you guys up to? What was that fire in your Insta story? There was literally there was literally a fucking fire like 2 blocks away from me. And I had to teach after that. I had 2 students I had to teach. But there was just like I sussed out the situation. Like I scoped it out. Like I went down out of my building. Like I skated around. I made sure there was no like danger to me. But it was like weird teaching immediately after that because it was like, yeah, there's just casually like a building on conflagrating, massive fucking fire. Like, I don't know, 200 meters away from me. And then I was like teaching with that. If you guys are in the live stream, you don't know what I'm talking about. In my IG story, I posted a video of a conflagration, a massive fucking fire that there was a building like, I don't know, 200 meters from my building. That's like over at past midnight. That's just on fire. Everything's fine now, though. Everything's fine now. Guys, give the live stream a like. Carson, what's going on? Mike, Matthew, hello. Yazid. Yeah, just let our Telegram group know. I'm done with renal. Reja, you say you're done with renal, pulm, gastro, cardio. Good. Those are important PDFs to do, guys. Give the video a like. Give the live stream a like, guys. Michael Betamariam. Good to see you, Michael. Thanks. You're a new member of my channel, too. You and Nikia have green names. Everyone else's is gray. But I know you became a member like in yesterday's live stream. I saw the notification. I also saw your super chat as well, so appreciate you. And I think you DM'd me on Instagram as well. I think you did. Albert, hello, Dr. Mike. What to do for the last week of exam? The final week you're going to do NBME review. In terms of PDFs, high-yield arrows, you got to know that, obviously. But for general consolidation, it's got to be on the NBME exams in the final month, not even just week, month. Okay, so you're a week out. It should be pretty much like NBME 29, NBME 30, NBME 31, and really hardcore knowing the latest NBME content. And then PDF-wise, you can't go into the USMLE without knowing high-yield arrows. It's 3:50 a.m. where I am. I'm just giving a heads up that I'm like massively cracked the fuck out right now. It usually takes me like 2 hours to become cracked out. I'm like cracked out. But I just decided I'm going to do a live stream. And I made a tea. This will be like minimally helpful. You know, this is more like an ostensible measure. It's not actually going to like help me. Carson says, love you. Raja, should I buy UWorld? I've said UWorld and Amboss are non-superior to each other, so you could do either of them. Right? Some people do offline UWorld. I'm not going to advocate for doing like illegal shit if you're supposed to buy it, right? But you should do UWorld or Amboss in preparation. Yes. Not during the final week. I've said the final month will be NBMEs. E says, hey, Mike. Ayad Ali, how are you, Doc? Good to see you, Ayad. Japleen, Cower. Hi, sir. How to approach last 4 weeks before step 1? Okay, what am I going to do? Like 29-minute discussion of this again? I mean, I'm in a live stream, right? Could do it. Could give you guys an extensive discussion on how to prepare for the last 4 weeks. Talk about it a million times. Jap Lean, you're going to do NBMEs 20 through 24, then Free 120, then 25 through 31, and you're going to make Anki cards from your incorrects, and you're going to stack review those incorrects. When I say stack review, it means as you move through each NBME exam, after you finish the totality of the review of an NBME exam, let's say NBME 23, you're going to redo the incorrects from 20, 21, 22. Okay, you do NBME 24, you're going to redo the incorrects from 20, 21, 22, 23. So you're going to continually re-review the NBME incorrects. 20 through 24 and Free 120. So 20 through 24, that's 5 NBMEs. Free 120, so that's six forms total. Those are going to be one Anki deck, and then you're going to have 25 through 31 as a second Anki deck. So, for example, you finish NBME 26 and fully review it, and you screenshot your incorrects into the Anki with 25. You're going to redo the incorrects from 25. You do NBME 28, you review the whole thing. You're going to redo the incorrects from 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, so 20 through 24, Free 120 is one grouping. Then you've got 25 to 31 as a second grouping for the Anki review. And that's going to take you a whole month, basically, okay? Because you're going to do 2 days per NBME exam. After you finish 20 through 24 and Free 120, Free 120 can be 1 day. But after you finish 20 through 24 and Free 120, I have 3 additional days prior to starting NBME 25 where I have you guys do each day, you're going to redo 2 NBMEs per day. So, for example, you do NBME you do Free 120, and after you finish Free 120, you're going to redo all the incorrects from Anki 20 through 24. The next day, no Anki. You're done with that first deck of Anki. You're going to do 20 and 21 back to back in the same day, 400 questions. You've already done those exams prior. You've already reviewed the incorrects, but you're going to do 400 questions. You're going to redo those exams. Following day, you're going to do 22, 23. The following day, you're going to do 24 and Free 120 on the same day. You're redoing those exams. You're doing all the final NBMEs twice. So not only are you reviewing, stack reviewing all the incorrects from Anki during the final month, but you're doing all the NBMEs twice, 20 through 31 and Free 120. Okay, so all of them twice. So, and then after you finish NBME 31, toward the end of your prep, you're going to do 25, 26 the same day, 27, 28 the same day, 29, 30 the same day, 31 on its own day for the second time. Then you're going to have maybe a biostats day. Then you'll have maybe a day of consolidated chill review, just custom review. Should be a light day the day before your exam. And then you'll sit the real deal after that. Okay, so that could be an idea, one possible plan for a final month. But the point of consolidation is that the final month should entail you doing a comprehensive and assiduous review of all the NBME material with your incorrects and basically memorizing the NBME forms. Okay, this will get you through the comp, CBSE. It'll get you through the Comlex. It'll get you through step 1. All right. Volchi, good to see you. Actually, I just skipped over a couple people. Well, good to see you, Volchi. Pragya, yes, don't even think twice, dude. It's gold. Pragya, you're calling a chick dude. I think that's like an American thing, mostly. Like girls will call like dudes bro or something, or like chicks will call like, I mean, you're calling a chick dude. Pragya, you're like, well, I'm not American. I'm in like India or something. You know? I don't really know what to say. Johanna SD, hola. Good to see you, Johanna. Volchi, hey Mike, do you recommend reviewing the incorrect NBME Anki every day? I just fucking said that. Just said that. I just talked about that. You're not going to be doing any Anki review from like UWorld, for example. Like I said, don't make Anki from UWorld. Guys, there's 41 of you here, and there's only 16 who liked the video. So please give the live stream a like. It'll help drive up the algorithm, bring other people here. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe. Bhaskar Pal says, hey, I'm really scared about my step 1 because I am thinking about giving it in November. My med school finals will be next month. So everything will be occurring at the same time. What do you want me to tell you? This happens like frequently. Like people will just write a paragraph without actually asking a question. They just say like they're scared, and then they like put the onus on me to like dissect out what they're trying to. It's like an EQ thing. It's like, well, you want me to pat you on the back and tell you like, don't worry, you'll be okay. I mean, you want me to give you your whole plan? Is that what you want? You want me to write up a whole plan for you, tell you how to balance med school with step one prep? I mean, if your exam's in November, you should be on QBank right now. NBMEs don't play a role at the moment. I don't give a fuck about your med school finals, truthfully. I've said class rank matters, but like, Pat, you gotta pass step one. Your class rank matters, but um, I would just study I would just study UWorld pretty much or AMBOSS. If I'm in your position, I'm in first year medicine and I don't know anything, and I have to prepare for a med school exam in November as well as step one. Um, I would just do QBank because you're going to get a lot of overlap. You know what I'm saying? So it's like two birds with one stone for the most part. Delexis Paul Emily. Hey, Dr. Mike. What's up, Delexis? Zdoa Mike, comma. And then there's nothing. You don't write anything else. Just Mike, comma. No, you did. No, you didn't. Okay. Gotta scroll back up. Mike Matthew. I'm taking my exam tomorrow. I retook exam that I took in December and I got a 74%. So I feel like I should be okay for the actual exam. You retook an exam that you took in December. Well, we take that with a grain of salt if you've sat any of the NBMEs before. Obviously, if your exam is tomorrow, I'm not gonna like say things that are gonna potentially set you off. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to sit the exam now. It's tomorrow. Hopefully it goes well. Good luck tomorrow. But if you're taking an exam, you got 74%, but you've already sat it. The score doesn't actually mean anything. I would ordinarily have you try to do a form like NBME 19 offline, right? Or NBME, NBME 19, or it could be UWSA 1. I said I don't like doing UWSAs, but when we talk about just getting a final prediction, and when you've exhausted all the NBMEs prior, that could have a utility. Moogle 900, hello, Dr. Mike. Raghib Sadiq, hey Mike, how's it going? I got step one in 3 months, planning to go through FA, Pathoma, high-yield arrows, and then UWorld. At NBMEs in the last month, you reckon that's going to be good for a pass? It's highly cuck. I mean, it says you haven't had any interface with advice I've given before, which there's no entitlement. I mean, that's why I do these live streams, right? Because I have to capture. I'll say the same dumb shit, say the same dumb questions, and then people will hear me say something for the first time, right? You need to focus on the tetrad, which is you're in 3 months out from your step. It's got to be QBank only right now, and that's in the morning. You're going to have your lunch break, and then the afternoon/evening is going to be go through my PDFs, go through my YouTube MCQs, and then ultimately a month out, you're going to go through the NBME exams. The notion of going through FA and Pathoma is highly cuck if you're not going through my PDFs and my YouTube MCQs. It's like, what do you want me to say to you, right? You got to update yourself. It's 2023. So people sort of parrot what they hear on forums, and it's understandable. It's not your fault. It's highly cuck. Robin Hood. Is a Robin Hood like you actually have an interest in like the movie or the character, or is it like Robin Hood like the crypto app or whatever? Maybe you like to do like go up on well, I don't know what I'm talking about. How about I just answer some med questions? How does that sound, right? Right? Do you know what the last days to be an ECFMG certified to be able to apply into the coming match? Can you only take step 2, or do you have to be fully certified by also taking OET? You don't need ECFMG certification to apply to the match. You need ECFMG certification to apply to take step 3. So if you take step 2, let's say right now, and then while you're waiting on your 2CK score, you get OET, the stupid fucking English exam, out of the way. And then you take OET, and then you're still waiting on your step 2 score, but presumably you passed. Then you're going to start, after you take OET, you're going to start doing UWorld for step 3, 1900 questions. You're still waiting on the 2CK score. So you're going through, let's say in July, you're going through UWorld for step 3. You're doing some CCS cases. You finally get your step 2 score back at the end of July. Well, you're basically done with UWorld for step 3 at that point. Now you can apply for ECFMG certification because you passed step 1, you passed step 2, you passed the OET. So you apply for ECFMG certification. It's like $150. It takes 2 weeks. And so you wait on that, and you're still doing so after you finish the UWorld 1900 questions for step 3, you're going to do the CMS forms that you did for step 2. If you already finished the CMS forms and all the NBMEs for step 2, I'd have to think about whether I want you to redo them. But when people ask how to prepare for step 3, I have them do all the CMS forms, and I have them do all the step 2 NBMEs for step 3. Okay, so you finish UWorld, and then we could potentially have you do some CMS forms, some step 2 NBMEs again, do the step 3 NBME. And then when you get the ECFMG certification, you just register for the step 3 in August, and you can knock that out of the way, and you can apply for the match this year with a step 3 score. That's what you'll do. I mean, ECFMG certification, the whole point is to unlock the ability to sit step 3. That's the whole point. You don't need ECFMG certification to apply to the match. Rohula Mohammadi. Good morning, Dr. Mike. Well, it is 4 a.m. here. It's 4:04 a.m. on Tuesday here in Japan right now. I started off the live stream by saying I'm like, crack the fuck out. I said that, right? Like I was lying down for like a couple minutes before I started this live stream because I was like, I'll just do the live stream. As I said, I made this tea here. VJ ready. My medicine shelf is on July 30th. Just finished UWorld with 60% correct. Should I go through the incorrect, start another QBank, or start CMS forms? So you finish the totality of UWorld, or just the IM forms, or just the IM component of UWorld? July 30th, what I want you doing, VJ, is you're going to do all 8 CMS forms for IM twice. So if you have a very busy rotation, you can do like 1 per day. It's going to take you 16 days. If you don't have a busy rotation, i.e., they let you go home after morning ward rounds, you can do like 2 forms per day. So it'd be 8 days to do all 8 CMS forms twice, so 2 per day. But you need to get all CMS forms done twice for the IM shelf. And yeah, you're going to do all the IM questions from UWorld. You're going to go through my PDFs. Okay, so cardiopulmonary, renal, gastro, heme, derm. Those are very important for IM. I want you doing those. But if you have extra time, quote unquote, okay, and obviously my YouTube MCQ playlist for internal medicine, it's a massive fucking playlist. It's a huge playlist. You're going to go through that playlist. But if you have extra time, quote unquote, July 30th, it's not a crazy amount of time. Yeah, you could just go back through UWorld incorrects. Ayad Ali, would you recommend reading last line of the vignette with choices, then going back? I've talked about how to go through long question stems. If you get a long question, you're going to glance at the answer choices. You're going to glance at the last line, maybe about a quarter to a third of the time. You can get the answer based on the last line alone. Okay, like you see, there's bihilar lymphadenopathy and sarcoidosis, and you didn't have to read the whole paragraph because that's a giveaway at the bottom, right? So you glance at the answer choices. Is it an organism? Is it the next best step in diagnosis? Is it what's the diagnosis, right? What kind of question is it? And then is it a renal question where you see answers like pre-renal azotemia, acute tubular necrosis, right? So you know right away to look for BUN to creatinine ratio as an example, or eosinophils or granular CAS, right? So you go backwards. That's what I do. I look at the lab, glance at the lab values. So is it a sodium potassium pH bicarb like an aldosterone question? Is it a urinary osmolality, serum sodium like an ADH type question? So I glance at the labs. Does anything jump out at me? Is it an empyema question where they give a pleural fluid and the pH is under 7.12? So what are they giving us? And then that's relevant for surgery though. You get a big fucking paragraph and then you got all these lab values and you see, boom, 6.99 is the pH of the pleural fluid. It's just empyema. Tube thoracostomy. You got a student reading the fucking question, go to the convenience store and like to come back, they're still answering the question. It's like, it's just fucking empyema. It says pH 6.99 right there. So you go backwards. That's how I do it. And after I look at the labs, if I still can't get it, I'll look up at the paragraph. I start glancing around like a wordless collage. Does anything jump out at me? Blood pressure, orphan antinuclei? Is there something that jumps out at me? If not, this student will candidly hear me say, "You fucking serious? I got to read this right now." And then I go back and I read the question. I don't read questions anymore. Like I go backwards. I just jump around through questions. So if I have to read a question, it's like it means that it wasn't easy to grasp onto from going backwards. Like you had to actually start from the beginning. I only start from the beginning of questions, maybe, as I just said, maybe 5 to 7 seconds after trying to go backwards. If it's a short question, like 2 or 3 liner, you can just start from the beginning. It's not a big deal. But if it's longer, I tend to go backwards through questions. That's a skill you got to hone for 2CK in particular because the questions are very long. And I haven't developed that technique as some sort of contrived or manufactured procedure. It's that I happen to, what do you think I fucking do? It's like a decade plus of just doing questions with students, right? So I know how to answer USMLE questions at this point. And so, right, I go backwards through questions. That's what I've evolved to do. Zaydoa. You ask Mike, my NME scores. NME 25, 80%, 26, 85%, 27, 82%, 28, 87%. My exam is in 9 days. Am I good to go? It's laughable. Right? You gotta have levity. You gotta have that. Guys, I'm getting 240s plus. I'm passing by 48 points, 50 points. Am I okay to good? Am I okay to sit? Right? Gotta have that. There's always that. Like the simulation always has that variable. That's like a normal like data point in the simulation, like daily. You always get that data point daily. Right? The same fucking way you get this data point, which is like is Boards and Beyond a good resource? Like that's also like simulation insertion variable. That's also like that's more frequent. That is greater frequency. That string that vibrates. That's got a high frequency. It's a cuck variable. That's what it is. It's massively cuck. Daniel Mwambi. Have I ever once fucking mentioned Boards and Beyond? No. Look, it's nothing against it. I'm not like antagonistic or antipathetic. That's not like how I mean to, convey my viewpoint. It's that it's not necessary. You got to stay consolidated. This isn't like 2014. Okay. It's 2023. Rashad Abdullah. High-yield arrows is easy. Points on step 2. I had a few straight up questions. Exclamation point, exclamation point. Fucking wrong answers wins. Well, I mean, high-yield arrows is ace, right? I said that. High-yield arrows is, you got to do high-yield arrows. There's no excuses. If you're not doing high-yield arrows PDF, like, there's a problem. Anyone like I talk to who fails step 1 or is in danger of failing, I can easily just ask them like questions from high-yield arrows and like they'll get questions wrong. Like it's basic questions, nothing complicated. Like, how does my high-yield arrows start off? Aldosterone's high. What are the arrows? Next question. Question 2. Aldosterone's low. What are the arrows? It's literally how it starts off. I mean, You got to know hormones and how they work, basic physiology, cardiovascular variables, right? Rahula Mohammadi, how can I join your student preparation for step one? Well, we have a Telegram group, right? We have a Telegram group. I have the link on my website. If you go to subscribe on my website, the Telegram group link is there, right? I used to manually add people to the Telegram group. Now I don't do that because there's too many requests to join. But some people still fucking like ask to be manually added, and there's a lag time. I literally said on the contact us page in my form, I literally write in bold on the fucking top of that page now. I changed it like the other day. I wrote like, don't fill out this form unless you have like serious tutoring inquiries. Like, I don't want you to fill out the form and be like, help me, like, help me. Like, I don't need that shit. And then people still fill out the fucking form and like don't have serious tutoring inquiries, right? Just join the Telegram group, right? The Telegram group's the extension of me, unless you're gonna like, you know, shell out some cash for time, you gotta, that's the extension of me, and Telegram group's helpful. Mimi NKA, good Mike, hello Mike, good to see you. Zay Zoa, Mike, I'm reading FA in my last week. Am I doing it right? The answer is no. I've done NVME's 2028. I have an idea. Have you done high yield arrows? Zay Zoa? Zay Doa? Have you done my cardiopulmonary gastro heme PDFs? Have you done those? No. Okay. Well, you're not doing things right. I've inculcated this. I've harped on this. And you obviously have to do free 120 and 29 to 31. You haven't done those NVMEs. Look, if you're passing, if you take NVMe 29 tomorrow, Zaydoa, and you get like a 228 equivalent where 197 is pass equivalent for step one, like you're fine. Okay, you lucked out. But most people aren't like that. Most people I interact with, they're getting like borderline or they're not passing. And so in that case, you have to really make sure you know my PDFs. Pragya Singh, I'm sorry if you've already addressed this in the past, but what are your thoughts about sketchy farm? Like some stuff isn't up to date. Vank greater than, such as Vank over Metro for CDiff. Well, Vank, I think you mean Vank is the treatment over Metro for CDiff as of February 2018. Yes. It's not like, my view on sketchy is that resource is very much about self-awareness for learning styles. Some people are very pictorial. They need flying animals with color and glitter and sparkling cascading waves. Some people need that. Okay. Some people require that type of learning thought matrix. So if you can't remember farm using my free farm modules, my farm YouTube MCQs, which are ACE, and obviously I have Farm Anki, but if you're having trouble like learning farm just verbally, and you need these like flying animals, then Sketchy will help you. I personally couldn't, like, I looked at an example of it. I can't learn like that. I don't know how people learn like that. I've said it's like being on a kindergarten acid trip in Salvia, looking at some of the sketchy farm or micro or whatever. It's like no fucking idea what I'm looking at. Just like, what's the text? Rashad Abdullah, thank you so much. I watched your questions and PDFs. To be honest, your content is very high yield, and I wish I started earlier with your content. It's true. The chat moved on me. Guys, by the way, if you ask a question and it might take me a while to get to your question, you can do a super chat as well, and I'll instantly answer your question if I see it. It's not about fucking money for me, okay? It's just, I'm saying, if you don't want to wait like a half an hour or 40 minutes for me to see your fucking question, you can do a super chat and I'll instantly address your question. Let me scroll back up. Galazzo, Dr. Mike, you are the G. What's going on? Rohala Rahamadi, Mohammadi. Yay, Garrett. Good to see you back, yay. Is Anki good? And if so, how can I use it along with my prep? I've said you're going to do Anki with your NBMEs at the end. I already mentioned it in this live stream today. I mentioned it in prior live streams repeatedly. And for UWorld, however, it doesn't play a role. Okay. So that's in my view. I think it's a waste of time. You need to focus on just like actual QBank questions and going through my PDFs and not getting bogged down in using Anki to memorize everything. You got to just read and move on. That's my view. Yay, Garrett. Nero Bala. Guys, if you're enjoying the live stream, please give the video a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Nero Bala. Any recommendations for Step 2 CK last week, prep? You've been going through my high yield PDFs. Anything additional to that? Well, it should be basically NBMEs 9 through 14, right? That's what you should be focused on in the final week. Raja Sohail, what's your opinion regarding, here we go again. I think, didn't you just ask this? Man, some of you guys are off the fucking rails with Boards and Beyond. Good Lord. I should accept like fucking like ad commission from Boards and Beyond or something. The number of fucking like questions about it. I'm doing great without watching these lectures. Should I watch these or should I leave? I mean, look, I don't really give a fuck what you look at insofar as you get through the tetrad of QBank, my PDFs, my YouTube MCQs, and the NBMEs ultimately when you get there. Okay? That's what I care about. That's what I care about you getting through because that's what's going to increase your score the most. Stephen Scheidt. How do you remember stuff so well without using Anki? You just do. I mean, remembering, forgetting, Stephen, is normal. Okay? So you're going to be a sieve and you're going to leak information. That's normal. That's expected. That's anticipated. So that repetitive process of, no matter how high you're scoring, where you read something, you remember it. Maybe 3 weeks later, you see it again, you get the question wrong. You're like, I've never heard of that before in my entire life. And then maybe you go to annotate it. I said you don't have to annotate it. Maybe you go to annotate it in like my notes, my PDFs, and you see that you already fucking wrote it there. You're like, wow, I wrote that, but I thought I was just seeing it for the first time. That's normal. Okay. You got to just read and move on and accept that you're going to forget things like a sieve. That's normal. I'm not concerned about you making Anki. You got to make forward progress. You can't be bogged down. You need width over depth for score augmentation, USMLE. If you ask someone off the street, like, what do you think is more important, like depth over width or width over depth? Get a lot of people who would opine just in a vacuum, like, depth over width. But it's width over depth for USMLE score augmentation. Up to a point, right? I've said maximum 80 questions per day. But like 80 questions per day where you feel your retention is, let's say, cursory at best, is superior to, let's say, 30 questions per day where you have a quote unquote deeper retention of the material. You got to get through questions. That's what you got to do. Reem, I'll know. What is a safe score on NBME if I'm aiming for 270 plus on 2CK? You have to pretty much get like 100. You have to get you have to like ace it. You can get like a couple wrong per block, pretty much. So you have to do. Like a few wrong per block tops. So the scales differ per form, but you have to basically ace it. Yusef, what watch are you wearing? This one? Rashad, Complex 2 is awful. Questions are out of the planet, but step 2 seemed very fair. Arseny, hello. Delexis, Paul Emily. FA is mandatory for step 1 prep, question mark. I've said no. Bran, when is Dogecoin going to hit $1 already? Laughable. I wouldn't invest in these air tokens. I think what's funny, Bran, is that your little icon there literally is like a marigold colored bee for your name, and it looks like a Bitcoin, basically. That's like what's like funny. I would only invest in Bitcoin at this point. My portfolio is like 98% Bitcoin right now. I invested in Cardano like a while back. That was a bad fucking idea. Everyone was fucking like all about like Cardano. It's fucking bullshit. I just converted it over to Bitcoin. And I've got some Ethereum, but like, I mean, that's just sort of like, I mean, you can have it, but I don't really believe in it. Ethereum is like silver and Bitcoin's like gold. So silver is more volatile than gold, as is Ethereum. I think people are FOMOing in. I think I think Bitcoin has another leg down. That's what I think. I don't think there's been enough pain yet. I think people are too bullish. Doesn't work. You know, if we were right, wouldn't we all be fucking like billionaires? But I mean, like, could be wrong, right? Maybe Bitcoin will just continue to go up, and then that fucking sucked. I didn't buy more when it was at 30K. I should have, but I mean, I'm waiting for it to collapse. I think maybe late this year, early next year. I think it's got another leg down. Then I'll go in harder. Bassam, Hagazi. Hey, Dr. Mike, should I just take a screenshot of my incorrects and throw it in Anki or just the objective? You're just going to take a screenshot of the incorrects for your NBMEs. And you're not going to have any explanations. You're not going to, and you're going to screenshot the already highlighted question, the already answered question in Anki. Yeah, you're not going to, and you're just, when you look at the Anki cards, you're going to see D is already highlighted. And then your purpose is not to pretend like you haven't seen the questions before. Clearly the answers are highlighted. Your purpose is going to be just saying, well, D is fucking highlighted. Why was it D? I put B. Why was B wrong? Okay, that's what you're going to do. 20 to 30 seconds review per NBME question. Pragya Singh, Delexis is a good review in my opinion. And Anna A. I haven't been able to study properly for the past few days due to depression and mental health issues. I'm trying to get back into it. Exams in a month. Is it possible or should I just give up? I mean, like, what am I going to say? Yeah, Anna, give up. I mean, I'm not the most like emotionally soothing person in that regard. I'm more just like, you know, I'm more just practical and more linear in terms of you got to just like pick yourself up and do it, because you have to recognize that the USMLE study process is not just about actual augmentation of your knowledge base, but it's also a psychological screening test. You have to realize that, guys. In other words, if you're a surgeon and you get like some sort of phone call phone call during the surgery that like, someone's sick or something, and then like you got to finish the fucking surgery and not let it affect you emotionally. Or if you got a patient in front of you in the office and there's some bad news that occurs, or you got to keep yourself intact. So there's a certain level of stability you have to be able to like push through and perform in the setting of potential external perturbing stimuli That's part of the screening mechanism for studying for these exams that supersedes the augmentation and knowledge base itself. In terms of practical things you can do, actual implementations, I've said you could, going to the gym helps, right? That helps. You know, talk to people, talk to your parents if they're positive, friends, but you ultimately got to study. Arson K. Any exercise advice for peeps studying for CK? I've said just go to the gym daily. Luis Garcia, does nitroprusside cause equal arterial venous dilation or is arterial dilation greater? It's more just you need to know nitroprusside acts on both arteries and veins. And if you're forced to choose one that's a venodilator and you see, for example, isosorbide dinitrate and you see nitroprusside listed, the answer is going to be the former isosorbide dinitrate. I've also heard from a student who sat the exam once. I mean, anecdotal n equals 1, but they asked like which of the following agents would decrease myocardial oxygen demand, and they said they were confused because they told me that they saw both like isosorbide dinitrate and sodium nitroprusside listed, and they were confused because they're like, well, wouldn't like both theoretically? And I was thinking, well, I would go with isosorbide dinitrate because that's like going to just venodilate. That's known angina. It mitigates your pain by decreasing myocardial oxygen demand. Like that has to be right. And the nitroprusside is like the slightly weird one. That's the questionable one, where because it's an arteriolar dilator as well, that could increase heart rate more, possibly increase oxygen demand. I mean, the venodilator isosorbide nitrate would still increase heart rate. So, I mean, this is why these things are a little bit like ambiguous at times, but Pragya. But also, I don't know everything. I'm still trying to pass CBSE. Chanel. Hey, Mike, what's going on? Delexis. The fuck, Delexis? You're like tagging other. You're like having a chat with someone else. There's no problem with that. Just, you know. Daniel Mwambi, you already asked that. I addressed it. Guys, if you're new to live stream, give the video a like. Ayad Ali, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hey, Mike, do I still need to go back to NVME's 2024 if I scored 25 to 30 more than 78% in exams after 3 weeks? Yes, I want you doing the offline ones 20 to 24 as well, definitely. Ahmed Al Saidi, how hard is it to enter medical school in Australia versus the US? I think it's gotten a lot harder in Australia. Australia's gotten harder, for sure. I got into med school in Australia just using MCAT, but that was back in like 2009 when I had applied. That was just MCAT at the time. Now it's like more competitive, I guess. But med school in the USA is hard, period. That's hard. Australian citizens, it's hard to get into med school there. Taha. Hello again, Dr. MS2 here. Do you have any opinions on sketchy for micro? I just fucking talked about sketchy like, I don't know, 10 minutes ago. I said it's about self-awareness for that, right? Self-awareness for sketchy. If you feel like you're pictorial, you can use it. Chanela, I'm planning on booking step 1 for October, November this year. Really grateful I found your channel. It's good, Chanela. Anupama Anu. What's going on, Anupama? I've seen you, like, I've seen your name various, I think maybe in the Telegram group or somewhere. Hi, Dr. Mike. What are your thoughts on the new Tennessee state bill that allows IMGs with home country residency directly to practice in U.S. bypassing residency? I think it's a bad fucking idea, but I think it could possibly, if Tennessee has like a, if they're underserved, that's like, and they don't really have a choice, then that could be understandable. But I think people should there should be like a screening measure of going through U.S. residency. it's probably just they're underserved. So they say, what's worse, like literally just remaining underserved, where we don't have enough practitioners or surgeons. Um, what's worse, that or like taking IMGs who didn't do US residency, but like it's borderline. So you got to say like population health wise, or from a public standpoint, like what's the preference? That wouldn't jive in like New York or something, I don't think. Hey, Dr. Mike, for someone with weak foundation, is it okay to spend more time reviewing UWorld questions but only getting 50 to 60 numbers? I said 40. You're asking if only 50 to 60 UWorld per day is like, if that's you say only. I said 40 to 80. You can do 40 per day. That's like totally fine. USMLE journey. Hey, Mike, how should I memorize stuff from UWorld? And then how often I should review my previous systems questions, which I've already completed, double question mark. Thanks and advice. I've said you can just do UWorld questions, just read. You don't have to annotate or anything. You don't have to do that. Previous systems, which you've already completed. I said do untimed tutor random. So if you're doing like by subject, right, you've already completed like certain subjects. You're not going to re-review them. You're not. You're just going to finish UWorld. You're going to complete the rest of it, subject specific, and then you're just going to sit NBME after. That's what you're going to do. But that's also why I've repeatedly said that I don't like people doing UWorld in subject specific mode, because if you exhaust all the cardio questions, let's say now, then later on you're going to, how are you going to review those topics? You're going to forget a lot of that stuff, right? Robin Hood. Hey again, Doc. You addressed my question earlier. I just wanted to follow up. I've heard that if you are not fully CFMG certified, it limits from applying to some hospitals. Is that true? No fucking idea. I mean, I've heard that, like, as far as I'm aware, you don't need ECFMG certification. Like, United States students don't have ECFMG certification when they're applying, right? So if that's like an IMG specific thing, and they want you to have like step 3 now or something, I mean, I haven't heard that. Unless you're talking about like fellowship or something. USMLE journey. Mike, I've completed 50% of UWorld. Should I book my exam within 3 months? Yeah, I mean, because you're going to need another month maybe to get through the rest of UWorld, and then you need a month to get to the NBME exam. So I'd say you can book your exam in 2 months. I'd say you could book your exam for end of August. USMLE journey. Mimi NKA. Hey, Mike, is it just OET that's accepted or IELTS? I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I think it's OET they need. Right? I think it's OET. I haven't heard of anyone like getting by with the IELTS. I think it's a money grab for them. I think that's probably why. Because even if IELTS suffices, like they're like, nah, we want our cash. Right? We want to waste your time and we want our cash. That's why. That's literally why. They're assholes. I mean, like that has to be why. Because clearly IELTS is like sufficient, but it's like, no, you got to have your OET. You got to do a different English exam to prove that your English is like, I mean, get the fuck out of here. Where was I? I did USMLE 2 CS back in the day. That was like that exam was pretty ridiculous. We had like mock patients, like 12 mock patients over 8 hours. I did that in Philadelphia. I passed it on the first go, but it was some real pompous shit with some of the med students there. Because there's med students from like everywhere. So you had like I'll keep it PG, but it was like a circle jerk of just like pompous like med students. You know, they had good lunch in Philly at the 2CS. They had like really big sandwiches and stuff. They had a really good lunch. I don't think they should have gotten rid of the 2CS, but I mean, understandably with COVID, I guess that, I think it was even before COVID though, they got rid of the 2CS. I prefer 2CS over the OET, because you have like this bullshit English exam where, you know, it's just stupid. Delexis, Paul, Emily, Pragya, Michael Rosen. Hey, I've done 45% of UWorld. Averages 44% in the first 15%. What? Done 40% average. What can I do? Should I bring? The point is, you're getting 40s. I already pushed the exam. Any advice, please? No, you're just going to continue through UWorld right now. That's what you have to do. You have to just continue through the rest of the Q Bank, and then you got to sit NBME's 2021 when you are done with Q Bank, and then that's going to guide our management in terms of when you're going to sit the USMLE. That's what we're going to do. We could potentially have you. 44 is really fucking low, but we could possibly have you sit in September. That's what I would say. I'd say you got to finish UWorld. It's going to take you out to the end of July. You got to do my Q Bank or my YouTube MCQs, my PDFs at the same time. End of July, you're going to sit 20 and 21. We'll see how you go. And if you do well, you could possibly move your test up into August. If you don't do well, I'm going to have you go back through all your UWorld incorrects. Holy shit. That'll take you like another, 3 weeks to a month. And then you're going to go back to the NBME exams because 44 is really low. It's really low. You're like, no fucking shit, it's low. I know. Well, it's low, so you got to, I'd say September is when you're going to set Michael Rosen. Guys, give the video a like if you're in the live stream right now. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do that. Taha Albargathi. I recently passed step 1. Thank you, Mike, for good material. That helped a lot. Beelzebub, how much limb anatomy do you need to know while doing MSK? Why don't you look at my high yield anatomy MSK rheumatology PDF? I talk about, I have relevant anatomy in there. Jennifer Corbett, how do I go through? You need to know like the lower limb nerves, like common peroneal, tibial. You gotta know that stuff. Upper limb nerves, right? You gotta know like the nerves for sure. The fractures of the upper limb, it's exceedingly high yield, right? You gotta know that. Jennifer Corbett, how do I go through farm? That's my weakest. I've said you got my farm modules on my website for free. You've got my farm YouTube playlist, right? You can do that. And obviously there's farm Anki that you can do. The farm YouTube MCQs are free. The modules I put out are free, and then you've got the Anki, which are not free. Crazy Arabic name that I can't read. Should I do UWorld incorrect after the first pass or not? Only if you take NBME's 20 and 21 and your 3-digit score equivalent is a 189 or lower. And then when you go on to NBME 22, if you have if you get 196 or lower, I want you going back to UWorld incorrects. I've discussed this in detail in my other live streams as well. Like when you finish UWorld and you go on to the NBMEs, right? 20 through 24, free 120, 25 through 31. I allow you to take a mild fail, quote unquote, on 20 and 21. So you're going to take your number of incorrects from 20 and 21 NBMEs. You're going to go into Google Images. You're going to not Google Images. You're going to type in NBME 20 score conversion Reddit, NBME 21 score conversion Reddit. And you're going to get graphs with best fit lines where X is the number of wrongs. You plug your number of wrongs into X, you get an equation Y, and that's going to be your 3-digit score conversion. 197 is pass equivalent for step 1. I like to see students get 205, 210 plus, so they're safe to sit step 1. You take 20 and 21. If you get a 190 to 196, which is a mild fail, I tolerate that. If you get a 189 or lower on forms 20 or 21, you're going to delay an entire month and you're going to go back to UWorld incorrects. Not 2 weeks, not 3 weeks, an entire month. Okay. So you can't be half pregnant in terms of your management. You have to make significant like practical changes. Okay. So you delay an entire month. If you break 190 on NBME's 2021, you go to NBME 22, and if you must now pass. I set the bar higher now, so you have to get a 197 or higher on 22 onward. If you get any fail 196 or lower on forms 22 onward, you're going to go back to QBank for an entire month. That's what you're going to do. If you're watching this, you say, I don't want to do that. Fuck that. I say, great. I agree with you. So pass then. That's what I do. I like incentivize you to do well by telling you that the alternative is like some ludicrous thing you don't want to do. They're like, you're going to delay until fucking November. And you're like, I don't want to fucking do that. It's like, okay, cool. Then pass. The NBA means you don't have to do that. So, but when you get to like NBME's 27, 28, I start to want to see like 205, 210 plus. If you're getting like 197, 198, when you get to like NBME's 27, 28, it's too low. I might just have you go back to QBank for a month. It's more subjective at that point. Like students who are like barely passing, the only time I'll have them YOLO and actually sit is if their school is forcing them. If their school says, fuck you, like you have to sit, then I can, I can push them through. But like, I don't like that. Like 205, 210 plus is what I want to sit, especially when by the time you get to the latter NBME exams. Reem, I'll know says, how can I improve on biostats questions? You can go through my biostats PDF, and just make sure you review biostats really well from QBank and also from the NBME exams. Biostats annoyingly is a very longitudinal topic. Like you got to do it over many, many, many like months to become acclimated to the question styles and the concepts. You can't just like go from zero to like, now I'm gonna do all the biostats questions in like 5 days. That's it. Like biostats takes a while to like, you got to learn the concepts. You got to sleep. You got to have many like sleep cycles to like pick it up. Priya. Hey, Mike, I don't have a lot of time to do your PDFs. Can you please tell me which PDFs are more important and how to finish them quickly? High-yield arrows. If you can only do one, you got to do high-yield arrows. Someone like made a cuck comment on Reddit. Like maybe like every once in a while, I'll check, and I see what people are saying. And like someone made some like cuck comment about how like high-yield arrows, they said like they didn't have like arrow questions on their exam or something, or that it only helped them with like one question. I'm like, person's full of shit. They didn't go through high-yield arrows. It's like you didn't go through my PDF. You did like 20 questions tops, maybe. You didn't go through the PDF. The other thing is that you're not going to get 50 fucking arrow questions. That's not how it works. What's going to happen is they'll give you a question where they tell you in the STEM that like they give you the lab values, right? They'll say sodium's 128. They'll say potassium's 5.8. They'll say bicarb's 19. They'll say pH 7.31. And those are arrows, right? Those are arrows. I just gave you down arrow for sodium. I give you an up arrow for potassium, down arrow bicarb, down arrow pH. And you'd say, well, that's consistent with low aldosterone. That's an arrow question. But it wasn't actually, right? I mean, because the question had nothing to do with up and down arrows and the answer choices. But that's an arrow question. Concepts integrate. I mean, people take things like hyper literal because they're looking for pretext. That's what it is. People are looking for excuses to not do. That's what you begin to see. People search for pretexts, or for they want to scapegoat, absolve themselves of responsibility from like not studying well, or like someone can just be like, someone can get like a shitty performance and like they fucking did their like Pathoma and FA. They didn't look at my PDFs or something. It'll be like one PDF. And then they'll be like, oh, Mehlman PDFs didn't help. You didn't fucking look at my PDFs. Because my resources are the best out there. Like, it's not even close. So it's like, it would be like somebody telling LeBron James that like, he's not good at like basketball or something. And you're like, well, clearly like he doesn't give a fuck what that person thinks. Cause it's like, he's fucking good at basketball. So people can say shit about my resources or whatever they want to say, but it's like doesn't change the fact that they're the best fucking resources out there. Denver. Hey, huge fan. Thanks for all you do. This is a step one question Q&A only. No, it's everything. I'm an M3 and my IM shelf now and was curious of your advice. I answered this question earlier for someone about IM. You're going to go through all the IM CMS forms twice. You're going to do all the URL or MBOS IM questions. You're going to do my PDFs, cardiopulmonary, gastro, hematology, at a minimum, dermatology. You're going to do my IM playlist on the YouTube, which is massive. Stereo Ashley, do you recommend sketchy microfarm? Answered that like 4 fucking times in this live stream so far. Markensio, what do you think is the biggest reason US med students do better than IMGs on boards? Probably just like it's a combination of better test taking ability on average, and also maybe curricula are more catered to NBME, right? Not all schools though. I mean, clearly, like, I get a lot of US med students that like are struggling, who are at good schools. That's the interesting thing. I have med students who are from like good schools sometimes, hard schools to get into. And it's sort of like an elephant in the room because it's sort of like, well, you're at like a hard school to get into. So clearly you have like good testing ability, right? And so you're not doing well on step one prep. How is that? That doesn't make sense because clearly you're capable. Clearly you got like a high MCAT. This is the things I'll say to these students. I'll be like, clearly you're smart. Clearly you got a high MCAT. Clearly you had a high GPA in like undergrad. You got into this fucking school. This is literally what I say to the student. And I'm like, so it's your fucking school's problem. It's not your problem because they're not teaching you what you need to be taught. And then I'll be like, did he go through all of UWorld or MBOS? Did he go through all my PDFs? Did he go through my YouTube MCQs? Have you done all the NBME exams 20 through 31? It's usually like, no, they haven't. It's like, well, no fucking shit. So IMGs, it's a lot of these schools, like they just don't cater to the NBME exams. They just don't cater to that stuff. Like they'll have you sit like a comp or a CBSE, BSFCR, like an internal house exam. They're not teaching you based on the NBMEs. They're just teaching you arbitrary like school stuff. Some of these schools teach the opposite of what you need to know for the exam. They'll focus on like weird syndromes and shit. I'm like, no kidding. They're not preparing their students. Reem Alno, is it mandatory to get a U.S. clinical experience or to have a published research for the match? The answer is no. Obviously, that stuff can help. Obviously, that stuff can help. It's not mandatory. It's about whom you know. Okay, it's about if you can get a letter from someone. That's obviously what matters. Your 2CK score is what matters the most. Guys, if you're in the live stream, please give the video a like. And sub to my channel if you haven't already. If you're in this chat and you're not subbed to my channel, you're a fucking asshole. Mira Kutab. I was super low today during sitting on the study table in your live stream. Just made me feel so much better. Hearts. That's good, Mira. Happy to hear that. You were sitting on the study table. Lost where I was. But Mira, I see you comment on my YouTube clips, so I appreciate it. Ahmed, should we do high yield risk factors PDF for step one? Reddit users say many risk factor cues popped up on step one. Fine. The reason I made a risk factors PDF is because students were hysterical about risk factors. It's a step two tilt PDF in my view. I think risk factors are mainly like step two tilt. You can go through it, absolutely. Go through my PDF. It's a fucking amazing PDF, but it's like, it's in my view that it's like almost basically a family medicine part two PDF. Like that's what I think of it as. That'll help you get through family med. Dr. Jaber. How long does a person need on average to prep for step one? The answer is about 3 months. Is 4 months enough? I think 4 months is too long for step one. Nakia Brooks, I promise, if you didn't recommend doing a Q bank, I would only do your content for these exams. Amazing. I appreciate you. I know you don't get emotional about compliments, but just saying. You're right. I don't get emotional about. Like I feel zero reading that. Like I'm happy that you like my content, but I think people should do Q bank in addition to my content, right? Srikant, cool watch, bro. Mojal. When I do Q banks and take low score, that makes me emotional, and just do review stuff that wastes my time. I have 2 months in subscription of Q bank and I'm afraid to not complete it. Steel Titan. Hey Mike, I love your material and little pep talks. Now I just want to see you fucking USMLE. Oh, you want to see me fucking smile? It's like the most annoying fucking thing. That's the second most annoying thing that people say. You got to smile more, Michael. The most annoying thing people say is like asking about the Path PDF, if that's going to come out. There's certain things that like people just like don't stop saying. Pavi Sahota, CK end of August, almost done. All of UWorld passed all shelves with scores from 6672. Still a lot of CMS forms unused. Just starting your high yield PDFs. Any additional recommendations? Your CK's end of August, so 2 months, and then you got to do 2 passes of the CMS forms. You're almost done with UWorld. You're done with UWorld now. You got to be you're finished. You're not doing it anymore because you got to do 2 passes of all the CMS forms, which is going to take you like 6 to 7 weeks. And you got to do all the NBMEs 6 through 8, then free 120, then 9 through 14. So that's going to take you all the way to the end of August already. So you're just done. You're old, no more. It's like 4,100 questions. It's fine if you ended at like 38. I don't get 3,800. I don't give a fuck. But you're done with UWorld right now. Adali, hey Mike, would you recommend starting prep for step 2 right after seeing the pass for step 1, or take a little break? I would take a little break, at least a week after step 1. Definitely. And the fact that it's summer, like take a fucking break. Fear My Review, is that a watch? I like your AP. It is an AP. It is an AP. Mo Sadiq, since the exam became pass and fail, do they still have experimental questions? Yeah, they do. Apparently 80 out of 280 are experimental. That's apparently the case. But it doesn't change our management. It doesn't change your study because we don't know which ones are experimental on the real deal anyway. People like to speculate that that the experimental ones are like, lab, like molecular bio or something. It's nonsense. Okay. We don't know what they are. You're just going to do all the questions the best you can. You're just going to study all the material the best you can. Preston Wilson, 10 weeks prep. Good Lord. This is like a top tier cuck thing. I think your plan sounds terrible, Preston. And I think you haven't seen any of my live streams. And I don't think you've seen any of my advice before, which is fine, right? That's perfectly fine. Yes, there's going to be people who are new to my content, believe it or not. Okay, the whole world's not going to know what I've said. I mean, right? So, I mean, I have to be non reactive to that. I have to exhibit some temperament, not constantly have like a sarcastic or snide remark, but it's like your Preston, your little paragraph there as far as what I think about your plan, massively cuck. Top tier cuck. I said the tetrad is what you got to do. Number 1, you're going to go through UWorld or Amboss. They're non-superior to each other. Number 2, you're going to do my PDFs. Number 3, YouTube MCQs, my playlist for topics. Number 4, the NBME exams when you get there toward the end. Michael Rosen. I just want to pass, but how do I bring it up? How do I bring my scores up? I've been reading your high yields. As I said, just continue through QBank, continue reading my high yields, do my YouTube MCQs. EZOT, uh, EZOT, and then your last name starts with a Q, and I can't pronounce that. Hello, Mike. I've just finished UWorld with 57% correct and planning to take the exam in November. Haven't gone through NBMEs yet. Would you recommend to go through AMBOSS to boost my score? Are you studying for step 1 or 2? I mean, that changes everything. You're studying for step 1, you're just going to do NBMEs 2021. You're going to move through 20 through 31 free 120. If your scores are 205, 210 plus equivalent, you can just sit. You don't have to sit. No, you don't have to take the real deal in November. If you're studying for step 2, I would not do AMBOSS at this point. I would just do CMS forms, then NBME, all of the CMS forms, 45 to 50 forms, 2 per day. It's 3 to 3.5 weeks. You're going to do NBME 6 through 8. Then you're going to do a double pass of all the CMS forms. Then you're going to do free 120, then NBMEs 9 through 14. Parth Munjal. Hi, Mike. I've completed UWorld for step 3, average 66% correct. Is it good enough? I don't give a fuck about your scores in UWorld. You're just going to do, because after you finish UWorld step 3, you're going to do all the CMS forms, same as the step 2 kids. You're going to do NBMEs 6 through 14, same as step 2 folks. And we're just going to see how you perform on those, because those scores are going to overlap. Like the material's virtually the same. So we're just going to see how you, obviously there's a step 3 NBME, but there's only one. But we'll see how you go on the NBME forms. Because if you're like, we don't worry about the actual number per se. We worry about like sort of the relative or the approximate percentile. Like 198 is the pass mark on step 3. So if you get, let's say, a 206 on a step 3, or sorry, what am I saying right now? If you take like a NBME 14 for 2CK and you get like a 220, the pass mark is 214 for CK. Well, we say, well, that's 6 points above the pass. Maybe that would be like we could speculate that's like a 204, on a step 3 or something, because 198's a pass. We could guess that maybe it's similar, right? But so I just look at like how far above or below a pass or average are you when you set the step 2 NBMEs, because that's going to overlap enough. Like if you're doing well on step 2 NBMEs while you're studying for step 3, then you're going to do well on step 3. People don't remember the step. When people study for step 3, they don't remember the step 2 NBMEs. And there's newer forms out. There's 13, 14. Actually, there's like I think all the forms pretty much they will not have done. Like 9 through 14, those are new. And it's a long discussion. That's the point. Most of you guys are in step 3. Where was I? Dr. Jaber, I can't find your Telegram channel on your website. Where can I find the link? The Telegram, there's a Telegram group and Telegram channel. The Telegram group, that's just go to the subscribe link, subscribe tab on my website. And it just says join our Telegram group, and you click on that. My Telegram channel, however, which is just my content feed. So it's not the group discussion as well. It's just my content feed. And some people want only that because they don't want to see all the comments in the group. They just want to see when I post new content. That link is on, it's under all my videos in my group, in my video descriptions on my YouTube. And also, if you're in the Telegram group already, when I post new YouTube clips, they're from the channel. They cross-post into the Telegram group. So you say, oh, what's that? That's like you click on that, my icon, and that's my channel, and you can join the channel. Amin Malad. And maybe 77 incorrect, and maybe 2160 incorrect, and maybe 2266 incorrect. Most are incorrect were taken from biostats, ethics, genetics. Do I need to keep doing NBME or book exam and pass and enjoy the summer? You're going to have to do NBMEs 23, 24, free 120, then 25 through 31, I said. You're going to sit end of July. You're going to sit like last third of July. Ahmed Malad. Guys, if you're in the live stream, please give the video a like. you haven't already. Ayad Ali, hey Mike, do I have to memorize and differentiate between positive and negative sense viruses? Not really. For positive negative sense, that's nonsense. How's that for pun intended? No pun intended. How's that? I mean, literally, because um, no, you don't have to worry about that, right? Like our enteroviruses, rhinovirus, right? Coxsackie A, B, echo, polio, single positive, single-stranded positive sense non-segmented RNA, icosahedral nucleocapsid, all that's bullshit. All that's like stuff from the numerical step 1 days, as an example. You need to know if things are segmented some of the time. Like you need to know influenza is RNA and segmented. You need to know rotavirus is double-stranded RNA segmented. It's got 10 segments. Influenza is 8 segments. Rotavirus also wheel-shaped. On one of the NBME exams. You need to know herpes viridae. Viridae means family. Okay, so viridae encompasses HHV 1 through 8. But those are double-stranded DNA linear enveloped. You need to know that. They'll show you an easy picture of herpes, and then the answer will be double-stranded enveloped linear. The wrong answer, double-stranded enveloped circular, is hepatitis B. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? The exam's not numerical anymore. That was stuff we memorized back in the day. But that's exactly the fucking point, is that when they made the exam no longer numerical, that decreased the value of medical education, in my view, because you guys watching this have no fucking incentive to memorize that stuff I just said, because you have a pass-fail exam. And you might say, well, that's great. I don't have to waste my time on that stuff. Well, you don't fucking know it, do you? Right? I'm the one who can sound sophisticated and hubristic and, because I can mouth off some micro. Well, okay. It was a numerical step 1, so I was forced to learn it. Isn't that valuable? That I mean, right? It's so they just want their doctors to know less. That's what the United States, that's what NBME decided. They're we want people to know less. We think it's good for the United States healthcare system if our doctors know less. That's what they decided. It was a selfish move. They made the exam pass-fail because they wanted to give power back to the med schools. Because people used to, when we had a numerical step 1, it used to be a big gunner culture where people would post on forums back in the day when I sat 11 years ago. People would post, someone would pop up on a forum and be like, I'm at a bottom 1/3 school, bottom of my class. Here's my 274. This is what I did. And that was gunner culture. The idea of you can get C's in fucking school. You can get shitty grades in school, but do well in the NBA or do well in the NBME and USMLE. So, but now, it gives power back to the med schools because people used to not go to lecture. And now that you have a pass-fail step 1 and class rank matters more, your preclinical grades matter more, now you're sort of forced to go to your bullshit lecturers' classes where they just have nonsense slides because you want to do well in school your first 2 years. So that gives power back to the med schools. The move, you had probably some umbrageous old white admin who reminisced for the days where people actually went to their lectures in person. And now that you have the age of the internet with people, you could sit in fucking Iceland. You could sit in Reykjavik doing UWorld and Amboss and not need to set foot in med school, and you'll perform higher than someone who goes to physical lectures in med school. And so you get dwindling lecture attendance over time. and you have old white admin who like reminisce for the days where people went to their lectures back in like the 1980s or something, where people gave a fuck because there was no alternative. And they're like, well, we're going to give power back to the med schools now. We're going to make the exam pass fail. And it's a selfish move because it decreased um, the bar for medical education, because you have some people who are butthurt about people not giving a fuck about their mediocre lectures. That's all it is. Saman. Saman Avezov. Howdy. Thanks for your content, Dr. Mike. Bashir Shabs. NBME 2021, 70%. And now I decided to jump to NBME 25, exam in 5 weeks. Bad fucking idea. Do 22 through 24, then free 120. Why are we jumping to 25? Saraz Shrestha. Why are you in Japan? I said I like Asian chicks. I prefer Asian chicks. Triple M. Why are some people taking STEP and Comlex? Double question mark. Comlex is for DO students. Triple M. So it's not STEP and Comlex. I think what you mean to say is Comlex and STEP. So people who are in DO schools, they must take Comlex, and then sometimes they choose to take STEP because that can open the door to other residencies for them, right? James, how's your cardio been? Talking about like my cardio PDF, or do you mean my actual like cardio for like running and stuff? I said the past 2.5 weeks I haven't run because I'm bulking right now, but I'll have more cardio phase. But I'm active, like I skateboard. Blueface, what's your thought on Babrine? I don't know what that is. Insomnia Mania, good to see you, Dr. Mike. What are the other countries that allow ECFMG certified IMGs to practice? No fucking idea. James, I've been on incline treadmill watching your videos the last couple weeks. Well, you can do incline treadmill on like 7.0 kilometers per hour. You can do that. You got to put it up at like at least 10 to 15 degrees. I tend to run, like I'll run at like 13 to 14 kilometers per hour for half an hour. And I break a half an hour. That's what I'll do. If I am having like a tired day, quote unquote, I'll get to like, I'll do minimum 20 minutes running. I'll hit 20 minutes. I'm tired. And then I'll switch to incline walk, 7.0 kilometers per hour, maximum incline. And I don't hold on to the treadmill. I just like, I make it, it's like a hike. That's arguably harder than actually just running. In many ways, that is harder than running. But I mean, back in like December, I was doing like long fucking runs. I was on the treadmill for like 2 hours, 20 minutes. I was burning like thousands of calories. But I was like fat last year. It's not to be critical of my own appearance. You know, people like criticize my appearance all the time. Like I've accepted that. That's normal. But like if I look back at some of my old YouTube clips, like I was like fat. Like some of my videos I feel like were like cringe. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's like Buenos dias, Rayo de Sol. You want to smile. You love annoying Dr. Mehlman, and then you spelled my name wrong. Vin N, can you please recommend a plan strategy for step 3? I've said for step 3, Vin N, it depends on whether you are like post grad and you've been like long out of med school. Okay, like so for example, if you're like fresh, if you've been out of med school, let's say like a couple years or something, like you're in actual residency and you're studying for step 3, you're going to have to go back through all the CMS forms. Well, you're going to have to do first, you're going to do the 1900 questions in UWorld for step 3. Then you're going to do all the CMS forms, the same as the step 2 students. And then you're going to do all the step 2 NBMEs. And you're going to practice, you're going to do the CCS cases throughout your prep. That's what you're going to do. Okay. If you're just at step 2, I literally talked about this already in the live stream, but if you just sat step 2, You're going to take your OET after, and then you're going to start doing UWorld for step 3 while you're waiting in your 2CK score. You get your 2CK score a month later, and then you're going to finish studying for step 3 UWorld, but you're going to apply for ECFMG certification. Takes another 2 weeks. Once you get that, you're allowed to now apply to sit step 3. And at that point, you're more along your prep. You've already finished UWorld for step 3. You're just ready to sit. Because if you just sat step 2, then you've already done the CMS forms. You've already done the step 2 NBMEs. So we can maybe do a little bit of review again, but you don't have to like do a whole second pass the CMS forms for step 3. And you can just sit. Most of you guys aren't studying for step 3, so I'm not going to go like too crazy heavy on that right now. That was already like enough. James, any last week step 2 recommendations? Double pass through CMS, 250s average on NBME, 262 on 14. Just missing PEDS, OBSGYN, multi-system. Been reviewing your vid, QBank, and PDFs. Any high tips for multi, just IM, PDF? You asked like 7 questions. Your scores are high already, James. You got a 262 on NBME 14. I would just review the NBME exams, literally. You're in your last week. So just keep reviewing the NBMEs. That's what you got to do. Literally, go back through 6 through. James, if you haven't done 6 through 8, I would do those as well. Offline 6 through 8. I'd go through those. Moogle 900 CDoc, you need a live chat moderator. Why do I need a live chat moderator? Why? Because Adam Lectobri said I look like a doll? Is that why I need a live chat? Is that what we're moderating? What was so like dramatic that we need a moderator? I mean, there were some messages that were retracted, I see, but if people say like negative shit, I mean, that's okay. Like I've articulated that's like normal. That's okay. Hello, tomorrow. Am I safe to pass after 2 weeks? UWorld self-assessment 228, and maybe it's 25, 26, 74.5%. And then you have a crying emoji. Scores are good. You're ready to sit. Buenos dias, Rayo de Sol. Love you. James, also for everyone here, high-yield arrows is most effective step 1 doc if you're on a crunch or closing in on the exam. Well, it's true. Ayad Ali, how many days do you think is enough for studying high-yield arrows? It depends. I'd say minimum, I'd say maximum maybe 11 days because it's around like 166 questions or so. So you can do like 15-ish per day, right? And that'll take you out to around the end of the PDF. That's maximum 11 days if you're slow. If your concepts are really weak, you can do like 15 per day. Other students can get it done in like, 2 days, 3 days. It's not like the same way. It's not a race to get it all done in one day. It's not feasible. It's not possible. It's the same way. It's like saying trying to do 165 QBank questions. You could in a day. It's not practical. So you could do like maximum 80 questions. I'd want you to do other things. Like you knock out a good chunk of high-yield arrows, maybe do 50 from high-yield arrows, and then pause, do other stuff. Go watch some of my videos or do something else. Okay, then just come back to the PDF, finish it like over the next 2 days, 3 days total. James, our cardio sounds similar. I've been 10 to 12 incline at 3 miles per hour. Not kilometers per hour. Yeah. Sorry for the imperial units, LOL, for 40 to 60 minutes while digesting your video. Keeping. Yeah, I mean, I would just run. You gotta like run. But you say while digesting my videos, that makes sense because you found a good okay, no, that's a good cadence. That's a good way to do it because you say, well, if I'm going too fast, I'm not going to be able to like if you're running outright, you're not going to be able to focus on my clips, right? You have to do like music if you're running. That makes sense. So you found a way to like both do cardio and knock out my videos at the same time. You're like, I can get this done by doing a walk, which is incline, which is effective. You're right. That is effective. That's smart. Ethiopia cram, 1 week till the exam. Any recommendations? I already did arrows and keep forgetting micro. Um, I would do arrows again. I just have a feeling you don't really know arrows. People say they know arrows and then they don't. They're like, I did IELTS arrows. I'm like, okay. And then I ask them some basic question they don't know. Guys, if you're in the live stream, please give the video a like. Rafael Morales Grimini. For step one, is it better to finish half of UWorld and most NBME practice material or finishing UWorld but barely touching NBME materials? Absolutely, NBMEs take priority, Rafael. Absolutely, NBMEs take priority. Okay, that's a good question, right? Because there's a hierarchy. That's what it is. There's a hierarchy. Like, for example, the same fucking way you wouldn't prioritize like Kaplan QBank over UWorld, would you? No, that makes no sense because there's a hierarchy. So it's the same thing with NBMEs over UWorld. Like, you would never do UWorld over the NBMEs in terms of priority. So at some point, if something has to get cut or curtailed, if we are going to abridge your prep, then it's going to come out of QBank over NBME. Kamala, hi, Dr. Mike. What side gigs do you recommend for med students? Is modeling career good in Japan? Good for med students. Well, I've said that like in Japan, chicks like beta fucking dudes. I've said that. Like if the Japanese dude looks like a chick, that's like preferred here in Japan. It's like the opposite of Western culture. In Western culture, it's like the guy needs to be like masculine and like army, like chiseled. In Japan, it's the opposite. Like guys who are very feminine, they wear like blush, long hair, and like a softer, lower face. That's like normal for like Japanese dudes. Like girls tend to like that. They like fucking beta fucking dudes. And that's not just like my subjectivity, that's like objective. Like if you go to like the host slash hostess areas, you know, like if you venture where they have like nightclubs and stuff and you see like large like murals on buildings of like you know, like hosts and hostesses and stuff, and you those are supposed to be representative of like the attractive people in the population, and like the dudes look like fucking chicks. I mean, it's not. I shouldn't speak of it as like it's derogatory. Like I tried to integrate that. Like I tried to. I went through like a kind of like a cringe like long hair phase. Like I tried that, but I'm not a feminine fucking dude, so it doesn't really work for me. You know what I mean? I can't fake being like a feminine fucking dude. I'm not. So it's like I can't like. It just doesn't jive. Doesn't fucking work for me. James, okay, bet I'll review the NBMEs. Thanks for everything, Mike. And 6 to 8 sounds good. If you ever stateside in Kentucky, I'll go clubbing with you, laughing my ass off. Were you the one who was like saying that if I come to Kentucky, we'll like shoot guns or something? Because I was saying like I don't want to I wouldn't want to live in the U.S. because of all the guns. I said I don't want to live around guns. But were you the same person who suggested that? Because someone else was from Kentucky. Ayad Ali, do you think I should include 5 hammers questions, gotcha questions, if I am doing Amboss? I don't really have a response to that. Ayad Ali. The answer is no. How does that sound? Asana Sif. Mike, is your psych PDF enough to crack MCQs in the real exam? My psych PDF is very skeletal. Okay, I'm aware of that. I talked about this yesterday, meaning that could I sit for like 3-4 days in a cafe and bump my psych PDF up, beef it up? The answer is absolutely. No fucking interest. But yeah, the psych PDF is skeletal. It's not like it's not very comprehensive, but you can just review the notes, the psych notes. Just do the psych CMS forms. Okay, there's 7 psych clinical master series forms. Do each of those twice, all of those twice, and then you're going to do all the psych questions, obviously from QBank. OCM, I love your PDFs. Sefer SH, thank you for everything. African Doctor, your PDFs are great, thanks. Where in Africa are you from? Rafael Morales Grimney, thank you. We all appreciate the time and effort you give in your documents, question and answer, and other. The medical community is better with you. Much love from Puerto Rico. Neuronal, I have 2 days left. Thanks, Rafael. Neuronal, I have 2 days left before my school CBSE. What do you think is the most important to look over today and tomorrow? I was thinking pathoma 1 through 3 in your highlight arrows. So massively cuck. It's like top tier cuck. Neuronal. Like, how long have you been in this live stream? That's what I want to know right now. You must have just came into the live stream. You must have just come in here. Highlight arrows, that's a good idea. Nakia, do you think someone could be too old to start residency? I think your priorities are going to change as you get older. And I think that it's not that you're too old that you're not capable. I think it's too old that like you don't want to. I think that's what it is. Like if you're like 41 or 51 or something, you might just not want to do that. Right? You might just say like, maybe I don't need that in life. I don't need that per se. People who go into medicine when they're older as like it tends to be like a second career where they're looking for like, they really want that like they want that push for fulfillment in some form, and they're like, I'll just become a doctor and like I'll be able to check off the box on life that like I did something fulfilling for me. Like some people, and of course, yeah, they want to help people, etc. But I mean, it tends to be more of a second career type thing when they go in there older. But I think like it's not the notion of someone being too old to start residency because they're not capable. It's not that. It's just people might not want to. I think maybe you just say like you're 50 or you're 40s and you say, well, I have a family. I want to like spend time with them more, or like, and I would have to spend a lot of time like where I can't focus on them. And there's also like to go into medicine when you're older, you gotta take an income hit in order to study, and it's what it is. Brandon Axelrod, what's going on, Brandon? Mike, what's good? I'm the CBS guy you replied to in Telegram yesterday. Don't fucking remember. What NBME should I take tomorrow? Exam in 4 weeks. I took 31 already. So if I replied to you in Telegram, I probably said come to live office hours so I could address your question, because I tend not to address strategy questions head on in the Telegram group, because that's fine. So I'll answer your question. What NBME should I take tomorrow? Your exam is in 4 weeks. You took 31 already. No idea why you took 31 already, unless your school forced you to. That's understandable. You're going to do NBME 20. Brandon Axelrod, you say you're trying to get 20 to 30 done before July 22nd. Doable. Perfect. You're going to do 20 through 24, then free 120. Then you're going to do 25 through 30. Perfect. You just have Brandon Axelrod. You just have to be getting. What did you get on 31, by the way? And when did you sit it, Brandon? Write that in the chat, Brandon. When did you sit 31, and what did you get? Like what percent or how many wrong did you get on it? Do you remember? 3 to score. Do you remember? James, I was not the gun guy, but I could take you to a range. Anyways, back to your videos again. Thanks again. I mean, like, well, yeah, there was some dude in Kentucky here. Well, I guess you left already. There was another dude from Kentucky who like said he would go to like a shooting range, like he would go to a shooting range with me because I said I don't like guns. Brandon, you said you got a 58. 58 wrong, Brandon, or 58% correct? Can you write that in the chat, Brandon? How long does it take you to fucking type? All right, so Sai, why'd you go to med school in Australia? What was your MD PhD thesis? Well, I was working on a PhD, but it was boring as fuck, so I walked with an MPhil. An MPhil in like the Australian British system's prestigious. Americans don't know what that is. But it was biomedical engineering. I have a master's in biomedical engineering. You got 58% correct, Brandon Axelrod. So, going back up to your question here, you said you got 58%. Wait, when did you say it? 2 weeks ago. That's low. So 58% 2 weeks ago. Yeah, you got to do 20 and 21, Brandon. And what I want to see is this is what's going to go down, Brandon. Tomorrow, actually, yeah, not today, tomorrow. You're going to do NBME 20, and you're gonna have 2 days for that. You're gonna take it tomorrow, and I'll give you through to a second day to review it. So you can do it on Tuesday tomorrow, and you continue the review on Wednesday. You're gonna go into Google Images, and you're gonna type in NBME 20 score conversion Reddit, not Google Images. NBME 20 score conversion Reddit. You're gonna get a graph. You're gonna type in your number of incorrects in the best fit line equation that they give you, and if you get a 189 or lower, I want you postponing until the end of August. If you get 190 or above, you can go to NBME 21. Same deal. So on NBME 21, if you get 189 or lower, you're going to postpone you're going to go back to UWorld Incorrects for a month or AMBOSS for a month. You're going to postpone your exam to end of August. So you need a 190 or above on 2021. I allow a mild fail because 197 is the pass mark internal for step one. So when you go to NBME 22, however, I increase the bar. So now you're going to need to pass. You're going to need to get a 197 or above on 22 and onward. And if you don't, then you're going to postpone a month. You're going to go back to your old incorrects. That's what's going to happen. I'm being optimistic for you because based on your 58% 2 weeks ago, we should already have on 31. We should already have you back on QBank for another month till the end of July. But you're going to probably what's going to happen is if you take 20 and 21 tomorrow and you get like 58% again, which is a fail, you are going to do UWorld Incorrects / or AMBOSS, either or, until the end of July. And then you're going to have August be your NBME month. You're going to redo 31 to start with, which you already did. We're not going to care about your score because you already did it. You're going to do 31. Then you're going to do 20 again, which you're going to do tomorrow. So you start with 31 and 20. You're not going to care about your scores because you sat 31 already. You're going to sit 20 tomorrow, but a month from now we're talking. You're going to do those two first. We're not going to care about your scores. You're just going to do them for review. Then you're going to do 21 or 22 onward through August. And you can sit maybe the last third of August. That's what's going to go down, Brandon. But Sai, I was saying that I loathed, I abhorred my PhD when I was in Australia. I hated it. I never did something so boring in my entire life, like lab work. I loathed that. So I walked with a master's. That was like the best day of my life, I think, when I like learned that I could walk with the master's. I was like celebrating because I walked in. My advisor like hated that I didn't give a fuck because I walked in there and like I had already, I was decorated from USMLE back in the day and like, worked for first aid and stuff. And like, I walked in there and he was like, I got this like, med student because they were all research students. They weren't med students in my lab. So I walked in there as like a med student who's going to do a dual degree. And then like, I was in the PhD, I was enrolled in the PhD as well at the same time. And but I let him down because my advisor, I let him down because I didn't care. I thought I was going to like it, but I didn't. And I couldn't force myself to care. So, well, I did like enough research. And then when I found I could walk with a master's, I was like, peace. That's what happened. I was always like reprimanded for not like doing enough, like not caring enough in the lab. That's what like the issue was when I was there. It was always like, you gotta like care. I was like, I don't fucking care. But I learned a lot, going through that process of like, learning things that I was like, this is definitely something I would like hate, like working in a lab. I liked reading articles. I liked that, but I didn't like working in the lab. I hated it. Um, but as I said, when I learned I could walk with a master's, I was like ecstatic. That was like one of the best days of my life because I was like, I'm so glad I can be out of this shit. So I got a master's. And then I finished the medical degree after that. Medicine. Huge love to you, Mike from Iraq. Khalid Hussein. What's the fastest to get through QBank and retain? 80 questions per day. I know you mentioned 80 questions per day. Yep. Is there a case where I can do more in a day? Not really. Ayad Ali, hey Mike, since you love traveling, are you planning to visit Egypt? I'm not. Huge love for Egypt. I mean, it's not like the safest place, right? For me to visit. I would love to visit Egypt. If it's safe, I would go. Why not? I'd go to Egypt. Why not? But it's like not safe, right? You say like, is anywhere in the world safe, right? Many countries aren't safe. Does that mean not go? Could go. I wouldn't like bring my electronics there. Like I wouldn't bring like this laptop I'm using or like my actual smartphone. Like I would need like a burner. I would need like a flip. I would bring like a flip phone or something or like that's what I would do. I wouldn't want to get my electronics like stolen or like confiscated or I don't know what they do. Brandon Axelrod, yes, you told me to come to office hours, lol. You're a dental school student. Yeah, I have students. I teach students who are in dental school who are doing their craniofacial stuff. Yeah. Storyteller, I don't think Nakia was like talking about herself specifically. Maybe it was just generality. And I don't think anybody told her, I don't think anybody was deterring her. When did she have any naysayers? When did anyone say like not to do residency when she's older? I articulated that like when people get older, it tends to be like you said, you're 46, storyteller. Well, right. I mean, it tends to be that you've got more variables in your life than someone who's fucking 26, right? You got like maybe family, kids, whatever you're doing, full-time job. You're used to a higher income at 46 than a 26-year-old. 20 people in their 20s don't have money, right? So you're used to a higher income, whatever it is, even if it's like, right? So it's hard to take a step back and you say, like, do I really want to do? It's your second career, as you said, you know? So it's not about not being capable. It's just like you got to really dedicate yourself, right? Um, Mayo's Elise says, best vodka you've ever had? I don't drink vodka. I had tequila earlier. Like maybe 9 hours ago, I had a little bit of tequila. Not alone, but I had a little bit of tequila. Khalid, Ahmed. Ahmed said, I got 74%. I made me 31 2 days ago. My exam's in 3 weeks. Am I safe to go? That's high. 74% is good. But I want you to sit the other NBMEs, 20 through 30. Ahmed, you need to finish those exams and get good scores. But 74% so far is auspicious. It's promising. Bria Reed. Just want to pop in and say the 10th question at a time method is really helping. 10 cues at a time method is really helping me power through the step 2 cubing. Yeah, no fucking shit. It's a good tactic, right? Spot on. Guys, if you don't know what Bria is talking about, I came up with this 10 question do blocks of 10 if you're like struggling to get through QBank because you do 40 questions monotonously, very difficult, right? But you chop out blocks of 10 where your phone goes in your backpack, okay? And then your backpack across the table at the cafe or under the cubicle or across the room. And you just do nothing but that block of 10. Can't take a break until you finish the block of 10. Then after you finish the block of 10, you take a quick break, watch a non-medical YouTube clip, have a quick bite of a protein bar, have a protein bar or something, have a drink, check your messages, check your phone. Then after about 6 minutes, 7 minutes, the phone has to go back in the backpack. You're gonna do another block of 10. I've made lots of videos on it, but it's a way to knock out question bank. Sai, how's cold approach in Japan? I mean, I think digitization is doing to cold approach what Bitcoin is doing to gold. How's that for an answer? In other words, 10 years ago, if guys didn't approach women in real life, if a girl didn't get approached in real life by a guy, she didn't meet a guy. There was no meeting guys. 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, there was no meeting guys if a girl didn't get approached in real life. So women, they had to, do their makeup, wear their fucking emerald bracelets or whatever, get plastics. They had to get approached, right? Now it's flipped. So Bitcoin is doing to gold what digitization, like social apps, dating apps, are doing a cold approach, where a girl can, she doesn't have to do her makeup. She doesn't have to, do anything out of the ordinary. She can dress plain, doesn't have to dress attractive. She can sit in her parents' basement and just use her little app, and she can meet countless guys. So the access has increased, the supply has drastically increased, and so that's decreased the value of cold approach in terms of what guys can yield from it. That word can be interpreted in different ways. I mean, you could use cold approach, to approach women because you want to meet a girl and get married and have your white picket fence and dog and all this stuff and go to church on Sunday. I'm just saying, like, the act of the male walking up to a female and saying hi and initiating a conversation had better results, let's say 10, 15 years ago for men overall than it does now. Because a girl doesn't need a guy who approaches her when she's got like 50 people messaging her on a fucking app when she sits in her parents' basement, right? It's nothing negative. It's just that's what's happened. And so the genders have flipped in terms of now males are the ones who peacock and males are the ones who have to fucking look smacks and do all their stuff because, like, women are the rate limiting step because women don't, they don't need they don't want the physical interaction at the level men do. Just put it that way. Some people will say, what do you mean? Women are like, they're looking for that way more than men are. No, they're not. It's a hormonal thing. Guys are the gender that like is any fucking moment a guy's like, boom, let's do it. A girl, she's the selective, more like slower one on average. Yes, there's women who occasionally, yes, but I mean, on average, we're talking about here. There's a lot we can discuss on that front. You asked how cold approach is in Japan, right? Sai. Sai was the name of a Chinese chick at my Japanese immersion school, actually. been doing this live stream for about 2 hours. It's 5:41 a.m. here. Brandon, you say you can't postpone your CBSE since it's offered twice a year for dental school. But we're just going to be optimistic. Dog Tour House, question after looking over your neuro PDF. You have a line that says how to diagnose brain cancer. It's laughable. You literally, I think you asked this in the Telegram group. I just ignored it. How to diagnose brain cancer, answer equals contrast, head CT. No, you asked this, I think, on one of my YouTube clips. And so I think maybe you asked it you asked it as a comment on YouTube. I saw it. And then someone liked it. You said like, why not MRI or something? Someone liked, like one or two people liked it, meaning they liked your question, but I ignored it. I ignore it to be an asshole, but it's like, I tend to ignore like content related questions like that on my YouTube comments. Sure, you can do an MRI. I'm just saying that like contrast head CT can be an answer. That's all. When I write that something equals an answer, the necessary implication is not that something else can't be the answer. It's just this often is the answer. So contrast head CT is frequently done to look for malignancies, right? Contrast head CT, malignancies, abscesses. That's what they're frequently done for or used for. Non-contrast is looking for bleeding. Non-contrast also done, we're not talking about that. Non-contrast is done for urolithiasis, for stones, right? But contrast pretty much for everything else. And you say, why would the answer not be MRI with contrast? MRI with contrast is the answer for multiple sclerosis. That's the high yield brain MRI one. Sometimes pediatrics, right? Because you don't want to do CT, you don't want to give radiation to a kid. But there is a question when the PEDS forms with malignant otitis externa with mastoiditis, where the answer is CT of temporal bone, where it's a bad fucking answer, but it's the answer on the form. Because you got to look for fluid collection with CT or MRI. X-ray is insufficient because if there's a fluid collection, you got to drain it in order to prevent brain abscess. But CT is an answer on a PEDS form. Bad fucking answer though. TC, besides a tutor professor, what do you do, Dr. Mike? Work in the medical field? What will be your specialty? No, I've said I don't have an interest in practicing. I do USMLE stuff. Irene Stevens, hi from Germany. What's going on, Irene? I have friends in Germany. I talked to friends in Germany today. When I was 21, my college girlfriend at the time in Boston, she was German. You're currently doing UWorld in your PDFs. Am I making a mistake by skipping first aid? No, you're not making a mistake. Youssef Joyd, come to Georgia, Mike. It is safe as fuck, and there are plenty of chicks as well. TC, Dr. Mike, do you think we should read FA before sitting for the exam? I find your PDFs more engaging than FA. Do you think I should do both before the exam? I did it once with USMLE RX a year ago. I've said a lot of times in this chat that you don't have to do that. Do you have a video explaining what you shouldn't do during exam day? Yeah, I have plenty of clips on that. I've said that on exam day, if possible, do the first 2 blocks back to back with no break. Take 60 seconds sitting at your desk without leaving the testing room. And then, if at all possible, and then after the second block, just all your breaks, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, all the way through. No extended lunch break, ideally. You don't want to load calories during any one break. You don't want to extend a lunch break, nothing like that. You're asking why you read it, Mohammed. You're asking why I read it. Say the real deal has nothing to do with NBMEs. Those assholes are making me anxious. Well, I mean, I guess your take-home point is don't obsess over what people talk about on Reddit, right? If you want like a low IQ influence, then that's what you can spend your time on, right? The average IQ, I think, is lower on a platform like that. It's obvious to me. Shalva Chokeli, hey Mike. What's going on, Shalva? Ayesha Ali Khan. My step two is on the 25th of July. Did UWorld twice and 75%, and you got 75%. Took UWSA 20 days back, got 240. Okay, that's good. And maybe 10 days ago, you got 238. Okay, that's good. Doing CMS forms now, done with 22 of them, getting 8 to 10 wrong on most forms. That's good. Did you have a question? Or you just want me to say, yes, that's good? Yes. Objectively, those are good numbers. Storyteller, you went to college in Boston. Yeah, I went to BU. I went to Boston University. You said you went to BU and lived on Commonwealth Ave and then Bay State. I lived on Bay State Road back in 94. Where did I live? 92, 94 Bay State. I lived on Bay State. Yes, Storyteller. I lived on Bay State Road also. In a brownstone. I lived in a brownstone on Bay State Road. When I was 21. No, when I was 22. No, 20. When I was 21, I lived on a. When I was 20 and 21, I lived on Bay State Road, and I lived on Commonwealth Avenue when I was 21 actually as well. Actually, when I was 18, I lived on campus the whole time. When I was 18, I moved to Commonwealth Avenue. Yeah, Boston was great at the time. I wouldn't want to live in Boston now. It's too small for me now. Like I've evolved as a person, and Boston's like way too small for me. I need like big city. I like big city, but Boston was like great at the time. It was great for university. Like I was happy to be there at the time for sure. um, you know what's weird? You know what's really weird? I think like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC. I was like reading. I didn't realize she went to BU also, and like she and I were apparently like there at the same time. Yeah, she and I, because I graduated in 20. I graduated end of 2008, and she and I were apparently like there at the same time. It's not like it fucking matters, but like I was like I wouldn't have ever known that. You know what I'm saying? That's like a weird thing to like randomly read, right? Right? It's like maybe I was like in the fucking cafeteria or something with like AOC. I have no fucking idea. But like we were literally on campus at the same time. Like I was reading. I was like, yeah, I was a student there. Dima M. Hey Mike, your opinion on stimulants like Adderall? I've been asked this question like more than once today. Like 4 times. It's like the fourth time I've been asked this question today. Dima. I saw you. You're like in my first live stream. I asked if you're Russian, and then like I think you said, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think you were like, no, you're not Russian. Maybe Ukrainian, but you live in Canada. I could be completely fucking off, but it was like something we had a sort of a conversation like that. And I was saying when I was like in 8th grade, there was a dude named Dima who was like really good at arm wrestling. He was from Russia. It doesn't exactly answer your question about like stimulants like Adderall. I don't think that stuff's a good idea. You know, I think that obviously you don't want to be dependent on those types of things. The same way you don't want to be dependent on caffeine, but I mean, who the fuck am I to talk? I literally just drank a tea, right? It was to get to this live stream. Otherwise, I wasn't going to do the live stream. TC, Dr. Mike, thank you for spending time with us today. Finishing second pass at UWorld. Please tell me the best way to do dedicated period for step one. It's a long fuck. You asked like the most basic, broad question, TC. Like you want like your broad 30 fucking minute chat about like how to prepare for step one. That's what you want right now. All right, I've already done that. Yeah, storyteller. I was in Warren Towers. I lived in Warren. I think I lived in A Tower. I lived in A Tower. 15A. I was in 15A. Yeah, I was in Warren Towers. And then I lived in Danielson. Danielson was East Campus after. I moved to Danielson. I was in Danielson second year. Third year, I was also in Danielson. And then fourth year, I was in Bay State Brownstones, as I said, near Miles. Near Miles, and yeah, it was near Miles. I'm trying to remember like the. I was near like yeah, I stayed in Bay State Brownstone near Miles. So I can talk about with Boston, obviously. I mean, I lived there for 4 years. Beyond that, there's other stuff too. Sai, love your stuff, man. Been recommending you to all my classmates. Looking jacked, bro. Ayesha Ali Khan, I want to ask how to proceed further with these numbers when to take further NBME. I'm aiming for 260. Shava Chokali, I'm an Italian chemist. I ended up becoming a chemist, but I've always wanted to become a doctor. Props to you. That's so funny, dude. That's like a better career than a doctor, being a chemist. That's so much better. Are you saying that because you know I've written about like organic chemistry? Organic chemistry was my favorite class in college. I did two organic chemistry years. I did a graduate synthesis class after, so I did an intensive organic chemistry class sophomore year, and then I did the graduate synthesis class my junior year. It was like a class of like 8 of us. I just didn't like the lab. As I said with my PhD as well, I hated the lab. But organic synthesis, much more fulfilling than medicine. Way more fulfilling. But you got to work in a fucking lab. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna do like you're gonna do synthesis and like not have a lab? Like, what are you gonna do? You could just sit in a room and you're so amazing, and people bring you like fucking synthesis like on sheets of paper and be like, "What do you think of my synthesis?" Nor does using like an NMR excite me or something. That doesn't like excite me. But it was like I liked synthesis on paper. Monty Hill 94. I'm an old graduate with a failure step one a month ago. Should I stop? I don't think you have to stop. It's just if you want medicine, then do it, right? Do UWorld again. Do NBMEs again. It's about what you want. Ali H, I just want to say hi. You're awesome. No questions. Sending you sexual vibes. Youssef, do you like coffee and what type? There's a really good Italian coffee place in Japan. Japanese, like they love going to cafes, but they don't have like they themselves don't make like coffee. But there's an Italian cafe that's really really good. Like cappuccino is good. How much do you bench? Bench is I'm strong at bench. Ume K Abbas. Hey Mike, done with NBME 2025. Got 199. NBME 25. Please tell me how I should space out the remaining NBMEs. You're just going to do one every 2 days? 2 days per NBME? I talked about this a lot in the live stream. Jim Solak. Hello, doctor. Hello, boss, Dr. Mike. Tomorrow I have my forensics medical exam. Were you ever interested in that specialty? Not really, but I like forensics files. Yeah, I like that. Like there was a TV show when I was living in the United States, like ages back, called Forensics Files. Forensic Files. That was a cool TV show. I liked that. The idea of forensics. That's cool. But I mean, it's not something I ever took strides to like go into myself. AP Sans, what kind of music do you usually listen to? At the gym, I listen to techno, electronic music while I'm working out. And I'll listen to like crypto videos. I try to stay educated on that stuff. Sometimes random podcasts. What are your best resources for step 2 shelves? I have internal medicine coming up in 2 months. Talked about this a lot already. VWD, von Willebrand disease. What kind of music have you been listening to lately? I just fucking said techno, electronic music at the gym, sometimes K-pop. Just mid questions. Mocha says you look angry, or is it your usual mode? Do I look angry? Mocha, what would I be angry about? Tell me, Mocha, what do I look angry about? Or is that like projection or something? You need to smile more, Michael. You don't laugh enough. You should smile more. Mustafa, Turks drink tea like there's no tomorrow. When you tell them it has caffeine just like coffee, they're like, huh? LOL. I wouldn't be surprised if that were like the response. There's stuff there's other stuff I could say to that, but there's like no free speech anymore, right? There's obviously like jokes I want to make about that, but there's like no free speech anymore. Free speech is done. People get triggered over the most dumb fucking shit. Don't you agree, Mustafa? Right? But I definitely am not surprised that like you could say that. You could be out on a date or something and be like, this has caffeine. They're like, yeah, that's definitely like a response that you would get. Maybe she'd be more likely to pull if she gave a response like that, right? Maybe that's like a mothership type of thing. You reckon? Oh, like Kim, want to try Japanese sushi? Yeah, I mean, I like will eat sashimi more than sushi. I tend not to eat a lot of white rice. I can eat white rice, but I don't like a lot of white rice. AP Sans, what's the most annoying part of being a doctor? Well, I don't fucking practice. I said that. Becoming a doctor? That's different. Becoming a doctor is self-explanatory. All you guys are going through that right now, right? It's not necessarily annoying. Mocha, you said something. You retracted your message. Too shy. You wrote more comments down below. I'll get there. What's the most annoying? I just fucking read that. Ayad Ali, do you watch anime? JoJo anime? I used to like watch a little bit when I first came to Japan, but I've talked about how that's like wannabe, like Japanese, like gaijin otaku, which is like nerdy foreigners who come here. A lot of them like try to be like Japanese cultural like wannabes. Like they try to like watch as much anime as possible, and they like try to like buy all their like manga comic books, and like that's what they try to do. There's nothing wrong with cultural diffusion, but like some go like over the top with it. I was never like really into that though. Like when I was at my Japanese immersion school, there were like otaku there that like pissed me off because I'm just like, why are you trying to be like a fucking like you're trying so hard to be like Japanese fucking like anime nerd. Like just be fucking who you are. Like this isn't who you are. Yusef, I watched every single episode of Forensics Files. Highly recommended. It's a good show. Toby, what was that fire today on IG you posted? What happened? I talked about this at the very beginning of this live stream. Like around I had to do teaching earlier, and so like around midnight my time, I just like opened my front door and there was a massive fucking conflagration, fire of like maybe, I don't know, a couple blocks away. It didn't affect me, but like it was a massive fucking fire. Like a building was literally being just like burning the fuck down. And I I grabbed my laptop and my backpack and my skateboard, and just in case if I had to evacuate my fucking building, I wanted to have my laptop on me, right? So I grabbed my laptop, I went down, skateboarded around. Everything was fine with my building and around my area, but there was a massive conflagration, a fire, and I mean, everything was fine. I had to teach after that. So I literally, I got on with like my first student. I was like, there's a massive fucking fire. Like there's a building fucking burning down like 200 meters away from me. But by the way, and it was like weird because it's like just trying to carry out like business as usual. But it was like, yeah, that too. But I was like safe. I was fine. And then after that session, I went out and the fire was like pretty much dwindled. Um, Dr. Gill, favorite medical drama? I don't watch like medical drama. Mocha. Your eyebrows are sharper than my future. That's hilarious. That's really funny. Show your abs someday. The chance of me showing my abs on YouTube Live is 0%. 0%. I mean, that's like, right? I don't know if I would be like, I don't think I'm allowed to do that either. Like, even if someone super chatted me like $1,000, I don't think I'd be like allowed to. I think that would be violating like some policy or something. I don't think I'd be allowed to do that. And it looks like you're a fucking dude in your thumbnail, though. I wouldn't do that for a fucking dude. I'm straight. I said I was straight. Unless you're a chick, but you just have a dude as your thumbnail, or I can't see it. I can't. It's like literally like half a cent. It's like 5 millimeter thumbnail, maybe 6 millimeter thumbnail. I can't actually see the person there, but it just looks like a dude in your thumbnail. I can't tell if you're a chick and your thumbnail is you, and I can't see. You know what I'm saying? But I'm straight. Nakia Brooks, what was in the case on Pulp Fiction? I never found out. The gold. It was an AP. That's what it was. It was an AP. That's what was in the case. Panos. Are you in Greece, Panos? Finding myself. You ever thought about blending pickup lifestyle and medical stuff into one YouTube channel? The answer is no, not really. It'd be cool and get a lot of subscribers. As I said, like it's I gotta keep things like people are here for my med stuff. You know what I mean? I also think that like as I've already said, there's no free speech anymore. So like the stuff I'd actually want to like talk about, I don't trust that. I don't trust that stuff wouldn't get like canceled. That I wouldn't get canceled. I don't trust the notion that there's like free speech. I don't trust that. I don't think there's free speech. You know, it's disappointing. Mustafa, you mean they also drink like Plan B, like there's no tomorrow, right? That's so funny. Well, I mean, it's true, Mustafa, right? I just fucking lost you in the chat. Well, I mean, that's the situation over in Turkey, isn't it? Turkey's number 1 in the world for promiscuity, sexual partners, but it's pick your poison because that's coupled to maximum Plan B, C, and D, maximum abortion, Plan B. You know, when you venture into like discussion of like pro-choice, pro-life stuff like that, I mean, that's polarizing. People are going to have their own views, right? I've said I'm pro-life, and the thing about Plan B is that conception occurs, and so you've got a high dose progesterone analog that's going to induce a menstruation. So there's no implantation that occurs, but a conception has possibly occurred. meaning that a life is formed. I believe life starts at conception. I don't believe life starts at week 7. I believe life starts at conception. And so Plan B doesn't prevent conception. Plan B prevents implantation, meaning I still view it as murder. That's my view. Some people think that's like, they disagree. That's okay. You can disagree. I mean, isn't that like a topic people disagree on guns, people disagree on like healthcare, people disagree on economics, people disagree on, you know, pro-life, pro-choice, stuff like that. But because conception occurs, and I see Plan B as murder. I saw a Facebook post about you making a patho PDF. It's not on your website. I was wondering when it would be ready. If you saw a Facebook post about that, it was a troll. Probably it was possibly a troll. I have a path PDF on my desktop. I could easily I have like 10 to 15 pages of a path PDF. I could with good stuff in there: cell injury, apoptosis, necrosis, genes, oncogenes, tumor suppressor genes. I could load that up. I just don't want to because I can get it to a higher level. So, and I don't feel like working on it right now. So rather than just launching something that's like, middle ground, I'll get to it later. Maybe later this year. Maybe in the fall. We'll see. Shalva, yes, organic chemistry lab is really tough. Usually things never work out the way you expect them to, and it's a disaster. LOL. I'm specialized in materials chemistry. I work in a research lab in Germany for a spaceships construction company. That's still cool. That's amazing. That's amazing. Minimum boiling hot solvent. I think I use like maximum boiling hot solvent. Have you ever done a Wittig olefination? I read Clayton's Organic Chemistry. That was my favorite book. Have you tried mocha ice cream? It is really good. Asked Yusuf. I haven't had ice cream in a long time because I'm like into fitness. I prefer like dark chocolate. There's like Godiva makes like a dark chocolate ice cream. Mint chip is also good, but like I don't, as I said, I try to avoid that stuff. Although yummy, right? Let's see, where was I? How's your crypto portfolio looking? Just stable coins? Do you skate? Do I stake? I don't stake. I said earlier, like 98% of my portfolio is Bitcoin. It's a commodity. It's not a security. I had a lot of Cardano, but I capitulated out of it and converted it to Bitcoin. That was like a while back. That's a lengthy discussion, right? I mean, do I have to get into my fucking finances in that regard? But I mean, like, I think I'm hoping prices collapse. I think right now people are FOMOing in, and I'm not FOMOing in. I think that prices will collapse. And if I'm wrong, because if we were all right, wouldn't we be fucking like easy billionaires? Okay, that's how it always fucking works. So people don't know jack fucking shit. We can, we can pontificate, but I'm banking on there being another. I think there's going to be another leg down later this year or early next year. I think there's going to be another leg down. I'm hoping there's another leg down. And then I'm going to go in heavy with cash. I'm hoping, right? I'm not DCAing right now. I'm not. There's not enough pain yet. There's not enough pain in the market yet. People are too bullish right now. That tells you like it can't be, we can't be at the bottom. People have to be like in despair. There's no despair in the market. Everyone's been like, I don't think people have ever left the bull mentality since like 2021. People are still like, Bitcoin to 100,000 like this year. It's like, I don't think so. And then people take like Michael Saylor videos like out of context and stuff. People take videos out of context. Kathy Wood, they take her out of context, like where they talk about Bitcoin in the macro, being the future, how like everything makes sense going, you should go into Bitcoin, but they're not necessarily talking about like this fucking month. They're talking about like, yeah, the future is, but like it doesn't mean put everything in fucking today and then like, you know, maybe it will go up 35. Um I'm hoping there's going to be another leg down. That's what I'm hoping. And I wouldn't buy again like over 20. Maybe I hope like maybe I'll DCA a little bit around 20 if it goes down close to it, but I'm hoping it goes dips below 20. I mean, wouldn't we all like that? Wouldn't we all like that, right? Wouldn't we all love to be able to time the market? Wouldn't that be great? I mean, could be wrong, right? And then you just miss it entirely. Like I didn't miss it entirely. I did get some in when it was like under 20 before. I did. But I mean, we're talking like a, you know, cash just sitting where you can put it in now and it's like, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to FOMO. Hey Doc, I'm taking my step one. Von Wilbrand disease. How do you like living in Australia? I was considering going to University of Queensland when I was still in undergrad. I went to EQ. It was good going to EQ. I didn't go to Oshner though. You were considering. I mean, pretty much I was the only American who went to UQ who didn't do Oshner. Like everyone did Oshner. I did the full Australian program. That's what I wanted at the time. I declined a spot in Oshner. I was like, it was the second year Oshner existed, but they like interviewed. They gave me like a phone interview actually, and they Oshner gave me a phone interview because I would have, as I said, it would have been the second year that Oshner existed, and I told them like, I want to do the full Australian program, not Oshner. That's what I told them. They were like, do you want to do the 2 years undergrad at Australia and then go to Louisiana, or do you want to do 4 years in Australia? And I was like, I want to do the 4 years in Australia. And I knew by telling them that I was like essentially like going to lose my spot. So if I didn't get into the 4-year program in Australia, I shot myself in the foot. But I got into the 4-year program in Australia. It's probably way harder to get in now. Things have gotten way harder, I imagine. But at the time, it was just MCATs. That's all it was. Chanela. Super freaking hilarious than the way you nonchalantly talk about situations that would freak people out the most. LOL. I opened my front door and the building was burning the fuck down, so I grabbed my laptop. LMAO. Well, I mean, it's what happened. Literally, the building was fucking like it's in my IG story. Like, if you don't believe me, if you go to my IG story, like I videotaped the building burning down. Like I was going to do an IG live, but then I thought that was like weird. I was like, I'm not gonna do like an IG live with like a building. I was like, I don't know, this is weird. So I just like took a short video of it instead and then scoped out the situation. Find myself. Nowadays, one way to become rich and famous and have a huge impact is to get canceled first. My 2 cents. I don't think so, dude. That's not ideal. I'm just saying there's no freedom of speech anymore. I've said this before. Like, if you can literally get onto YouTube and like say that you think like uh you know poor treatment of egregious treatment of migrants at the border is like okay, or that like the treatment of the Uyghurs in Western China is okay, or that like um you agree with like a coup to topple Putin, and that like you could talk about all this stuff and like no one blinks an eye, and then you make like innocuous opinions about like male female dynamics, and then like That sets people. That's not okay in 2023. You know, that's where we're at. What do you think about Clayton's organic chemistry? Is like the Bible for organic. Yeah, yeah, it was good. You synthesized tamoxifen. That's funny. Guys, it's been 2.5 hours. Literally, hit the 2 hour, 2.5 hour mark, right? So if you're still here, give the video a like. I appreciate it. Sub to my channel if you haven't already. 6:17 a.m. where I am, right? So I gotta have some food. That's what I'm gonna do. Have some food, shower, shave, pass out. That's what I'm gonna do, guys. Obviously, I'll do another live stream, right? So I appreciate you guys. All right. That's what I do. That's what I'm gonna do right now. I'll see you guys.